Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to be going in depth about tortoises' diets. Now this is a very controversial topic because many people have many opinions. Some people like to do things their way, some people might agree with what I say, some people might totally disagree. This is the information that I've found through loads and loads of research, so it's up to you if you believe this or not, but just know that I've been doing a lot of research, that's why I haven't posted lately. I really want to be accurate with this information and not misguide you in any way. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into it. Before I get into the video, I just wanted to talk to you about Fahlo. So Fahlo is a company that partners up with nonprofit organizations to create bracelets that come with an animal that you can track. What this means is that you can track an animal just by buying their bracelet. Their bracelet will come with a QR code that you can put into your phone, and it will give you the animal that you are tracking. So it will show in the map where your animal is. You can track animals such as sea turtles, sharks, polar bears, lions, and penguins. They are partnered up with Sea Turtle Conservancy, Save the Elephants, Polar Bear International, Orca Research Trust, and Saving the Blue. So it's an awesome deal in my opinion, and I'll leave a link down below. You can use code TGPS20 for 20% off your purchase. Yeah, let's get into the video. Firstly, you will want to understand what kind of tortoise you have. Tortoise species divide into three groups. You have the Mediterranean species, which include hermanns, Russian, marginated, and Greek tortoises. Then you have the grazing species. Now these are sulcata, leopard tortoises, Indian star tortoises, and Aldabra tortoises. Last but not least, you have the rainforest species. These include redfoot tortoises, yellow-footed tortoises, and Burmese tortoises. So now that you have been able to categorize which species you have and where they fit in, I'm going to talk a little bit about each diet. For Mediterranean species, their diet consists 100% of a variety of weeds and flowers. For grazing tortoises, 70 to 80% of their diet will be grass and hay, while the other 20 to 30% of their diet will be weeds and flowering plants, and also some succulents. Last but not least, the rainforest species diet is 70% weeds and flowering plants, and the rest is fruit. So this is a basic information about each species and what they eat, or what their diet consists of. So now I'm going to be talking about what they need for a good digestion before we get into specific plants and foods that you can give to them. For their digestion, they will need a temperature between 26 degrees to 28 degrees to digest their food. These are animals that don't produce their own heat, so they need to be warm and need to have a basking spot where they can digest their food and get energy. This heat should be provided from the top and not from the bottom, so if you want to heat up your tortoises, do not use heat mats or any sort of ground heat. You want something that comes from above, like a heat lamp. Another thing that you really need is UVB and UVA rays. This will allow them to absorb calcium, and if they don't have this, then they won't grow normally and could have deformities. You can get this by purchasing UVB lamps. Make sure it's the correct voltage and wattage for your specific species. If you want to keep a good look on your tortoise's temperature, you can purchase a thermostat and a thermometer so that you can keep watch of their temperature to make sure that they are in the correct temperature range. So onto the diet. One thing that is probably the easiest for a tortoise owner is to grow their own food. You can plant seeds in different types of soils. Just make sure that it's a safe soil and is organic and doesn't have any type of fertilizer whatsoever. You really have to be careful when choosing soil for your plants because some plants are able to absorb heavy metals, and this is really not healthy for your tortoises. When it comes to minerals and vitamin supplements, the question I often get is, do they need it? The short answer is yes. It could depend, but mostly yes. So as I mentioned before, they need a UVB lamp and UVB rays so that they can absorb their calcium, and this allows them to produce vitamin D3. Even if you do have a UVB lamp, it's always good to provide calcium with vitamin D3 just in case, and just to make sure that they are getting everything that they need. Mineral and vitamin supplements should be offered separate from calcium. Hatchlings and tortoises up to the age of 4 will need mineral, vitamin, and calcium supplements every single day. After 4 years, they will only need the supplements once every other day. A good thing that you can do for your tortoises is provide them with a cuttlefish bone. They will usually munch on it. It's also good for grinding their beak down, and it provides lots of calcium. Now I want to talk to you about some Mediterranean tortoise meal suggestions. So here I'm just going to make a few meals and show you why they are good and what you should avoid. So the first one is a mixture of lamb's lettuce, dried flowers for extra fiber, and flour or weeds that are fresh. Lamb's lettuce is great. You can buy this at a grocery store and you can feed this daily to your tortoises, but obviously try to give them a more varied diet. Dried flowers you can order online. I will leave loads of links down in the description with every product that you might see on this video. The flowers and weeds you can find even while foraging, or you can plant some seeds and grow your own food. For example, I have a hibiscus tree which my tortoises absolutely love, and I recently started growing some dandelion, which I'm really excited to start feeding to them as well. Another meal example are turnip greens combined with dried flowers and some food pellets, and this is where I'm going to talk about Goitrogens. I hope I'm saying that right. So basically, turnip greens is a goitrogen rich food or plant, so you don't want to feed this alongside another goitrogen-rich food. If you are feeding turnip greens, you don't want to offer cabbage, for example, because that's really high on goitrogens. So you have to choose carefully which plants you are combining. Now, you might be wondering, what are goitrogens? Goitrogens interfere with thyroid activity, which could lead to a liver and kidney lesions. So it's best if you keep goitrogens at a safe level. I'm so sorry if I'm completely butchering the word, but I'm trying my best. I'll put up right here a weekly meal plan example, so if you want you can follow this or create your own. Keep in mind that sometimes your tortoises don't need to be fed every single day. If they are younglings, of course, or up to the age of 4, you should definitely feed them every day, but as they come to adulthood, you don't need to feed them as often. But here's a planner just in case you need some help with planning their meals. A question I get frequently is how much and how often do I need to feed my tortoises? The how often I already talked about, but the how much is what I'm going to talk about right now. The amount that you feed your tortoise should equal the size of their shell. If their shell is a tiny little circle like this, you feed this amount to them. If your tortoise is 6 pounds or something and it's like this, then you feed not the same weight, but in the dish you will put the amount of food that covers this space, for example. I hope I made that clear. They should ideally eat 5 days a week and starve for 2 days. You can feel free to choose which days those are. Like I said before, hatchlings should be fed daily. If your tortoise is not full grown yet, then your tortoise should be gaining 1 to 3 grams every month for a steady and slow growth. This is the growing speed you want to achieve. So if you are growing your tortoises too fast, you might want to reduce the amount of food that you are feeding them. If they are growing too slow, that you want to give more food than you are already giving it. Adjust the amount of food accordingly. And this is appropriate for Mediterranean species only. I'm sorry I'm not going to talk about grassland species and tropical species much because I don't own them myself, so this is more a Mediterranean tortoise diet guide. Don't forget that variety is key when feeding tortoises, so please keep a varied diet for your tortoises to avoid any health issues. Whenever possible, it is great to take your tortoises outside and let them graze. Just make sure that they are in a place that is tortoise proof and there are no harmful plants where they are grazing. This is also a great opportunity for them to get some natural sunlight. Even if they have a UVB lamp, sunlight is so much better and it's great. Even if it's just for a couple of hours a week, it makes a huge difference. Besides the eating aspect, water should be always available. It is very important that you keep a clean water dish and change it daily to keep the water fresh. Unfortunately, that's all I have for you guys today. Everything that I talked about and every product will be linked down in the description, so don't forget to check that out. I'm sorry if this wasn't as specific as you thought, but Tortoise's diets are kind of a controversial topic, and I don't want to get anyone confused. Sorry if this got you confused, but I really hope it was helpful and that it was a good guide for you to start feeding your tortoises appropriately. Hopefully you found this really helpful and it was a good guide. If not, leave it down below, comment, and I will try to make a better video, or I will go in depth about certain topics in this video in other videos. So if you have any comment or any request you would like to make, just drop them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget that I have available merch. You can always check that out down below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!